Pam Bondi walked into a luxury car dealership in Miami, expecting nothing more than to order a birthday gift for her husband. What happened instead caught her completely off guard. Brushed off and asked to leave, not because of how she behaved, but because of who she was. Pam stayed calm, collected, and quiet. But while she didn't raise her voice, her husband had another way of responding. The next day, something arrived at that same dealership that no one saw coming. And someone caught the whole thing on camera. The incident at the dealership. It was a sunny afternoon when Pam walked into the high-end car showroom, her designer handbag resting lightly on her arm. She had done her research, knowing exactly what model she wanted for her husband's birthday, a stunning Rolls-Royce Phantom. She stepped inside, the scent of polished leather and the soft hum of expensive machinery filling the air. The showroom gleamed with opulence, a place where luxury spoke louder than words. A well-dressed salesman approached her, a professional smile on his lips. "Good afternoon, ma'am. How can I assist you today?" he asked, his voice smooth and welcoming. Pam returned the smile. "I'd like to inquire about purchasing a Rolls-Royce for my husband. I have some specifications in mind." Before the salesman could respond, a manager, a tall man in his 40s with a sharp gaze, walked over. His expression changed the moment he recognized her. His eyes narrowed ever so slightly, and his stance shifted to one of quiet defiance. He glanced at the salesman, signaling him to step back. "I'm sorry, Ms. Bondi," he said curtly. "We don't believe we can accommodate your request." Pam blinked, slightly taken aback. "Excuse me," she asked, her voice calm but firm. "I'm here as a customer, ready to make a purchase. Is there an issue?" The manager folded his arms. "We reserve the right to do business with whomever we choose, and we prefer not to serve individuals whose views don't align with our values." The silence in the showroom was deafening. The salesman shifted uncomfortably, while a few customers turned their heads, catching wind of the tension. Pam's heart pounded, not out of anger, but out of sheer disbelief. She had faced opposition in the political sphere, debated some of the sharpest minds, and stood strong in courtrooms. But to be turned away from a car dealership simply because of her identity? A younger employee, no older than 25, looked on with wide eyes. He instinctively reached for his phone, sensing that something big was unfolding before him. Pam took a deep breath, her expression remaining unreadable. She could have made a scene, demanded to see the owner, or called for legal action. But instead, she did what few expected. She turned on her heel and walked out without another word. The Rolls-Royce that made a statement. The next morning, as the dealership staff went about their usual business, a sleek, jet-black Rolls-Royce Phantom glided onto the lot. The sun reflected off its pristine surface, making it impossible to ignore. The staff members stopped what they were doing, watching as the luxury vehicle came to a halt right at the entrance. The driver's side door opened, and out stepped a sharply dressed chauffeur. In his gloved hand, he carried an envelope. Without hesitation, he strode into the dealership and placed the envelope on the manager's desk. The manager, his face already tense with apprehension, picked up the letter and unfolded it. The words were simple yet devastating. "Your dealership may have refused service to my wife, but rest assured, she has been served something far greater, a reminder that dignity and class always win. You, however, have only served yourself a lesson in consequence. Sincerely, Mr. Bondi." The manager's hands trembled slightly as he lowered the letter. His gaze lifted just in time to see the chauffeur calmly return to the Rolls-Royce, which then pulled away, leaving a stunned silence in its wake. The fallout. Within hours, the story had exploded online. The video taken by the young employee had gone viral, circulating across social media platforms. News outlets picked up the incident, sparking national debates about discrimination, political bias, and professionalism in business. The dealership faced immediate backlash. Longtime customers canceled their appointments, outraged by the blatant discrimination. Negative reviews flooded their online pages, and even major media personalities weighed in, calling for a boycott. The dealership's executives scrambled to mitigate the damage, issuing a half-hearted apology, but it was too little, too late. The most devastating blow came when a luxury car enthusiast group, which had previously held exclusive events at the dealership, announced that they would no longer associate with a business that allowed politics to dictate customer service. Within weeks, sales plummeted. Employees left in droves, unwilling to be associated with a sinking ship. By the end of the quarter, the dealership, once a thriving hub for Miami's elite, found itself struggling to keep its doors open. And by the following year, it was gone. Another business lost not to poor service, but to arrogance and prejudice. A lesson in grace. Pam Bondi never issued a public statement about the ordeal. She never called for retaliation, nor did she let anger dictate her response. Instead, she let the world do the talking for her. The lesson was clear. Class and integrity will always outshine spite and division. She and her husband still purchased a Rolls-Royce, just from a dealership that valued respect over politics. And the next time she walked into an establishment, it was one where she was not only welcomed, but appreciated. Because true class isn't about wealth. It's about knowing when to speak, when to walk away, and when to let dignity be your loudest statement.